Last month was one of the 3 hottest Julys on record globally, satellite data shows, while for southwestern Europe it was the warmest ever in terms of peak heat. Temperatures over 104 F, 40 C, were observed in parts of Portugal, Spain, France and the UK, according to the Copernicus Climate Change Service, C3S. This led to all-time records for maximum temperature being broken across those areas, including in Britain, which saw its hottest day ever recorded on July 19, 2022. On average, July 2022 was the 6th warmest July for Europe on record. The C3S data reveals the intensity of the prolonged heat wave that started in Portugal and Spain. Before continuing north and eastwards towards France, the UK, Central Europe and Scandinavia. The Iberian Peninsula saw an unusually large number of days with maximum temperatures above 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 35 degrees Celsius. The mercury hit an unprecedented 40.3 C, 104.5 F, in Coningsby and 40.2 C, 104.4 F, at London Heathrow Airport at 12:50 p.m., around an hour after a reading of 39.1 C, 102.4 F, in Charlwood, Surrey. Underlining the longevity of hot temperatures in this region. Britain experienced its hottest day on record on July 19, 2022, with temperatures soaring past 40 C, 104 F. Beat the previous all-time UK high of 38.7 C, 101.7 F, in Cambridge in July 2019. In third place is 38.5 C, 101.3 F, in Kent in August 2003, and 38.1 C, 100.6 F, in Suffolk yesterday is fourth. The extreme heat was caused by a plume of hot air from North Africa and the Sahara and an Azores high, subtropical pressure system creeping further north than usual, which experts said was a result of climate change. Globally, July 2022 was one of 3 warmest Julys on record, close to 0.7 degrees Fahrenheit, 0.4 degrees Celsius above the 1991 to 2020 reference period. It was only marginally cooler than July 2019 and marginally warmer than July 2016. In general, Northern Hemisphere landmasses predominantly experienced well above average temperatures. The data reveals, while much of Australia and Central Asia endured below average temperatures. Senior scientist for the Copernicus Climate Change Service, Freja van Borg, said, "We can expect to continue seeing more frequent and longer periods of extremely high temperatures, as global temperatures increase further. Heat waves pose serious risks to human health, and they can increase the intensity and longevity of many other disastrous climate events including wildfires and droughts, affecting both society and natural ecosystems." Additionally, dry conditions from previous months combined with high temperatures and low precipitation rates seen in many areas during July may have adverse effects on agricultural production and other industries, such as river transport and energy production.